I think there was a sense of huge freedom at the time, a real sense that something major was happening and that it was very exciting, and that something that had been there all of my teenage and adult life was finally being broken down after all the attempts people had made to cross the wall and how many people had been killed trying to get across it.
I was in my parents' flat in Nigeria, in Kaduna, and I remember they'd heard it on the radio and came and woke me up to tell me about it. So for me at the time it didn't seem like it was going to affect very much, but at the same time I could understand, because my parents were so concerned about it, how much impact it had kind of worldwide.
I was in Edinburgh, I was in my house looking after my two young kids, and it came on the news and I was absolutely taken aback by it. Well, I knew it meant the unification of Germany, and I think it would do a great deal for German pride.
I was driving home from work and I heard it on the radio. I would say I felt hopeful.
I just thought it was fantastic. I thought it was really positive. And I felt that only good could come of it, which was probably a slightly narrow view, but that was how I felt.
I thought, correctly, that this would end the suzerainty of the Soviet Union over the countries of Eastern Europe, which had been independent prior to World War II. I did not foresee these countries becoming so independent as to enable them to obtain membership of the EU and NATO.
I felt that the people from the East would have many more opportunities than they'd had before. And I also felt that it would be far easier for people from the West to visit the former Soviet bloc countries. And I was quite curious to travel to them and to see how their lives differ from ours.
I suppose I didn't really think anything would change because I didn't believe that it would actually happen. I was very concerned that there would be a bloodbath because the community authorities would try to put a stop to the action.
I think Germany has become unified, and it's probably a much better country for it.
Has it happened? Well, yes, I think we have greater freedom of expression across Europe, a lot of Europe anyway, and I think we feel it's a less confrontational place to live in.
There's also less certainty, there's more unemployment, but there is greater freedom of movement, and people are not restricted to staying in a small number of countries. They can travel far more freely, and obviously through joining the EU that's opened that up more.
But overall I'd much rather be living in the Europe we have today, following the fall of the Berlin Wall and many of those other communist regimes, than we had before 1989. And now of course we've got to build on the promise that that wonderful sense of freedom gave, and to try and make sure that people's lives are better across the whole of Europe and of course the wider world that we live in.